Thank you for tuning in to the FairBreeze Files, your source for tips, tidbits, and insights related to the world of travel. Hi, Angie. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So I'd like to learn more about your business and learn about some skincare tips you have for travelers.
Yeah, so my name is Angie. I'm a licensed esthetician here in San Diego. My business has been around for almost 4 years now, and I've been an esthetician for about five, but I feel like it's been so much more. I've just dove straight in when I went to school, and I've been learning so many different types of treatments and skincare and just the whole world of skin. So I've been on my own skin journey and I'm very passionate about both skincare and travel. So when you approached me in this topic, I was super excited because I know skincare can feel daunting for some if they're going on vacation. They're like, oh, that's just another thing I have to worry about. But for others, it can actually be really fun too, especially if you're going with a good group of girls or somebody that likes to be pampered with you. I have lots of tips and tricks to share today.
Awesome. So I guess, yeah, to get started, thank you for the introduction. I would like to learn a little bit about, you said your skincare journey and sort of the things that you've learned. Because as for me personally, I don't know a whole lot about skincare. Get my, um, just get my products and try to, balance my skin as much as possible. But I would love to learn more about the subject.
Yeah, I think that's the key word. You said balance, and that's the main thing when it comes to skin, whether someone has acne, hyperpigmentation, inflammatory concerns like eczema, it's all about balance. That basically is just those concerns are valid, but it means that your skin barrier is unbalanced, and there's a reason why that's happening. So that actually starts with my journey. I had severe cystic acne in college, went the dermatologist route, nothing was working. So then I just jumped into it, went straight to school to learn more about why is my skin like this? Why is the function like this? How can I solve this? And I learned that acne is an inflammatory condition and there was severely an imbalance. So for me, even when I travel, it's more important that I don't fall off because it's very quickly that I can fall back to my old cystic acne self. So I like to just treat it as a way to pamper myself. And there's so many different reasons on why our skin might be unbalanced when we're traveling. One, I mean, we're out of our normal day routine. We have different foods that maybe we're trying, we're doing different activities. Number two, climate change. The climate is just totally different everywhere depending on where you're traveling. It might be more humid, it might be less humid, it might be drier, colder, hotter. Our skin isn't used to that. So that creates an imbalance. Even just flying in the air, it dehydrates your skin from its natural oil production and hydration. So there's so many reasons why we want to make sure that your skin is balanced so that you don't toss away all the hard work you did before your vacation, and you can get back feeling stronger. Or like I said too, you can make it an enjoyable experience. Pamper yourself when you're on vacation or pamper a friend that's with you.
Absolutely. That's great. So, what would be, well, first of all, I'd like to know, you said you're also passionate about travel. I'd like to know, like, what's some of your favorite destinations that you've been to, and then what's a dream destination for you?
Ooh, that's a good one. My favorite has to be Bali. I've gone 3 times. I studied abroad and I was in Singapore. So from Singapore to Bali, it was a very inexpensive flight. So each 3 times, I loved it, but it's very hot, very humid. I'm very oily skin. Um, when I went to Bali, I actually was not an esthetician and didn't know much about skincare. So I wish I could go back and now teach myself the things that I know. But I did notice that my skin was more red, more inflamed, more oil production was happening. So if I had the tools I had now to treat myself by going to Bali, for sure, number one thing I'm packing is my LED mask. I love LED therapy. There's very convenient ones at home you can do. I love the Omnilux. I would have chosen to do my Omnilux Clear, which is basically a blue light that helps clear and kill acne bacteria. So that I would have done so I can continuously treat myself there. SPF would have been number two because the tan you get, the burns you get in Bali happen in minutes. The sun is just so strong there. So SPF is always the best place to start with the skincare. I always say work backwards. Start with the protectants and then work your way back to the serums and the cleansers. because you can have the most expensive serum in the world, but it's not going to work if you're not protecting your skin. So let's start on protecting that barrier and then nourishing. My favorite line for sunscreen is actually Color Science. It's 100% mineral based sunscreen, the only FDA approved to protect your skin. Easy to travel with because usually chemical sunscreens in certain areas are the ones that are prohibited. So I know that it's something that they're not going to throw away when I get to the airport.
Yeah.
Uh, are you a fan of sunscreens? Do you wear sunscreens daily?
Yeah, every day, absolutely.
Good.
Because I'm very pale skin, so I burn very easily.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's so important. So that's always number one. I also like to educate people too. Number two, you actually have to reapply. And most of the time I quiz my clients and I say, so how many times are you reapplying your SPF? They're like, when I go on vacation. I'm like, well, I do love to hear that you're at least applying on vacation, but it actually should be something that we do in our daily routine. We should actually be reapplying our SPF every 2 hours. Just like what we're doing right now, we're sitting in front of the computer screen. I know most of us are probably in front of a computer, probably in front of a phone. There's also natural pollutants in the air that are going to disrupt our skin barrier. So, a good mineral based sunscreen is actually going to protect you not only against UV rays, but also against pollutants and the blue light that's from our technology. So, just getting into the habit of doing that at home is going to make it 10 times easier for you when you are traveling and you're on the go to just keep reapplying so that you don't get a pesky sunburn. I know I'm not the only one that said I've had this before, but you might have lathered on that sunscreen early in the morning when you go to the beach. And then by 4 o'clock, you're like, what happened? I'm fried, but I did my job. I put sunscreen,
Yeah.
but you might have forgot to reapply SPF. So that tends to happen. A lot of people ask, well, how do I do that if I'm wearing makeup or something tinted or if I'm not on the go? Wish I had my products here so I can show you, but there's a brush on SPF that makes it convenient. It's antimicrobial, so it doesn't hold on to any bacteria. And it's a loose powder. It almost looks like a compact brush that you're applying over your sunscreen. So it makes it super easy. It's fun to put on your kids. You can put it on your hands, you can put it on your body. So that's a must when traveling.
Great. Yeah, I was going to ask about that. And if there was a spray, kind of like a facial spray SPF that you would recommend.
Yeah, so they do have spray SPFs. The reason why I personally don't use spray SPFs is because those tend to be a chemical SPF. And the way that mineral and chemical SPFs work are very different. That's why mineral SPFs are the only FDA deemed safe. And then you run into that issue again. If, yes, you might have a chemical mist SPF, but if you travel certain areas like Hawaii, you won't be able to use it there because it's not reef safe. So I'm praying for the days that I see a mineral SPF mist because I think that can feel very soothing on the skin, especially on hot days.
Hmm.
What was your other question? Where would I like to travel?
Yeah, what would be your dream destination?
That's a good one. I just got back from New Zealand and I really enjoyed that too. And I think that made me more excited to maybe go to Australia.
Yeah.
Face my fear and all the bugs and wild animals.
Yeah, the snakes that are there.
Yeah, so that's a good one too, but that's also a very hot one. So I'd want to make sure to pack all my SPFs on that trip.
Yeah, definitely a lot of beach time.
Yes. Have you traveled anywhere recently where you noticed that maybe your skin felt different than what it does at home?
Well, actually, yeah, last week I just went up to Oregon and took my kids to visit my brother. And we were in the snow. It was like 4 feet deep. But yeah, definitely noticed that my skin was a lot drier. And then also
Mhm.
because the heaters were going in the house and, in any place of business that we visited because it was so cold, that tends to dry out skin as well.
Right. Yeah. And that's where I tell people focus on the basics. Make sure you have the bare minimum. Comes to a good cleanser that's not going to strip your barrier, a serum to hydrate and nourish, and then a moisturizer to really lock it all in. Of course, that sunscreen we already talked about. There's so many other things you can do, like brighteners and peptides. But when it's coming down to just if you want to travel with minimal products, but you don't want your skin barrier to be lacking anything, highly recommend looking into Epicutis. Epicutis is a 100% non-toxic brand. They're very clean, very simple. It's made for you to just have a three-step regimen. That would have been wonderful for your skin and organ. The oil
Yeah.
cleanser is actually really nice because it's a thicker, it feels like a massage oil, but it washes off very nicely and it's non-comedogenic, meaning it's not going to clog your pores. And it leaves you a really nice, glowy, dewy look. that's actually preserving the natural oils in your skin so that you're not stripping that off. And then you go out into the snow, it doesn't feel even more stripped. So the oil cleanser and then the lipid serum is super hydrating. It's more hydrating than hyaluronic acid, and it actually provides benefits of brightening and collagen production. And then locking it in with a Hivea cream moisturizer, which is actually it's derived from non-GMO chia seeds, is actually really good too. It's a rich, thick consistency. Just those three things, your skin would have felt absolutely fabulous and looked fabulous too.
Oh,
Um,
good.
the best part about that is they actually have a little kit. It's called post procedure kit, but I like to call it my travel kit because it comes with travel mini versions of all those three products, plus a sheet mask. And it's already in a cute little travel bag. So you can throw it onto your carry on, TSA approved and everything. Um, that generally lasts 2 weeks. So it depends on how long you're there for.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect amount of time for most trips.
Yeah, I think so too. And really, it's up to your use. If you are there a little longer, you might be able to stretch it. But that also takes me back to the comment I made in the beginning of some people might not be into skincare and they think of it as a chore. This is a fun way to make it like exciting. The fact that it includes a biocellulose mask, which is, it looks like a sheet mask, but it's actually biodegradable and it holds on to the serums a little tighter and it helps absorb into your skin. Those were really nice and soothing. So if you brought another one for a companion, you guys can do them at home or at the hotel room while you're unwinding with a nice glass of wine. So that's always
Yeah.
a fun way to just incorporate some me time if you don't have a chance to go to a spa out there and make sure that you're still doing your skincare routine.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's a great advice for that. Do you have any recommendations for air travel?
Yes, that too, especially if I'm doing long trips, like on my New Zealand one, I think that was 12 hours, which was not that bad. I've had longer. So 12 hours is still pretty long.
It's a
Being,
long time in an airplane,
it is like
being
just the
blasted with
airplane
the
air.
air.
Yes, it's dehydrating you. So I always pack a little packet to go, the post procedure kit that I mentioned from Epicurious, and then I add stuff to it. So I'll add like under eye masks, which are super easy. While you're sleeping, you can just put them on, they stay tight. Ideally, leave them on for at least 20 minutes and then take them off when you're ready. Same with the lipid recovery mask, place that on, you take it off, you look brand new. And then you're avoiding all the pollutants in the airplane. Um, and a mist, if you have like a travel size mist is always my favorite. A good quality mist will actually kill bacteria in the skin without drying you out and continue to replenish your hydration. So it's like a nice glass of water for your face.
Oh, good. What kind of mist do you recommend?
Ooh, I love the Color Science hydrating mist, but they don't have it in travel size yet. So if I'm looking for a travel size one, I usually bring my DMK Urban Mineral Mist because it's a mini version of it.
Okay.
Or if I'm going somewhere hot, I'll actually pack one that's called DMK AccuMist. It just has a little bit more of an astringent to it because I'm very oily. It can help kill more bacteria.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question about so we've covered air travel and then also something for like being on a cruise where you're constantly, on the water and you're getting kind of the misty air, but
Mm.
also the salty air. And if you have recommendations for that.
Yeah. See, I have yet to be on a cruise. I should make that on my list. Again, sunscreen. A good quality sunscreen is actually going to be water resistant. In that case, I would make sure to pack my um, Even Up SPF, which I always say is like a treatment in a bottle because it's preventing against any hyperpigmentation. Since I know you'll be on the water, you're more likely to get any sun damage or sun exposure. So that's going to make sure that you're not overproducing any hyperpigmentation, but it's also a thicker silicone based sunscreen. So if I had it on my hand right now and I try to rub it with water, it's not really budging. It's not going anywhere
Oh,
because
nice.
it's anhydrous, meaning it doesn't have any water in it. So it's really just going to stay on your skin. Even the mist from the water, it's not gonna take it off. With that being said, you should still reapply your sunscreen.
Yeah, definitely. I think
Yeah,
that's going to be the takeaway lesson from this
always reapply.
conversation is always reapply.
Yes. Another thing too, regardless if you're going somewhere that's hot or cold, I always recommend making the shift of maybe pausing any actives that you might be on. And when I say actives, I'm thinking of ingredients like retinols, retinoids, harsh exfoliants, anything that you usually use at home to repair your skin, because you're more likely to have more sun exposure or pollutant exposure. I try to shift gears and focus more on that protective, hydrating, nourishing side of things so that you can make sure your skin is balanced. Because again, you are in different environments, so you don't want to do too much to your skin. You want to just protect your skin. So I would opt out for any retinols or exfoliants and instead bring a hydrating mask with you so that you know that you're replenishing your skin's hydration.
Okay. What about people that are prone to sweat? Does a lot of the serums come off or moisturizers come off like when you're sweating, especially in a hot environment?
Um, Depends on how much you sweat. I sweat a lot and it can if I don't layer correctly. So I think finding the right skincare for you is key. It's not necessarily a serum issue. I noticed more so moisturizers. Maybe someone with oily skin is using too thick of a moisturizer. That might not feel as great on their skin and it might make them actually like sweat it off. But a fix for that could be a setting powder for male or females. And there's two that I like. DMK Actro Powder, which is actually a healing powder that can be used as an acne spot treatment. Or even if you don't have acne, it's just a translucent powder that helps absorb any excess moisture in the skin. So it'll act like a setting powder, but it's not makeup. It's actually just healing the skin, calming the skin, and making sure that it stays nice and matte all day long. If you want a sunscreen alternative to that, there's also the brush on that I explained
Mhm.
uh, in sheer matte shade. So it's transparent, but it's actually there to help absorb any excess oil in your skin as well. Plus, you're getting the benefits of the sunscreen. So that's a nice way for you to just continuously apply it throughout the day if you do feel like you're getting a little bit of shine or a little bit more oil.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, definitely. I think coming up, we're going to be, seeing a lot of travelers heading out for the summertime. So, we're going to be going to warmer destinations and kind of, you know, being a lot more active outside. So
Mhm.
having recommendations for that, for sweating and for reapplying sunscreen that makes it easier to do so, would be really helpful.
Yes, even I forgot to mention the Actra powder, the first one that's not a sunscreen, but it's a mattifying powder. I actually love that for face and body. So for maybe people who have HS or who just sweat a little bit more in the groin area, the underarms, or anywhere that's like a little bit more intimate, it's safe to actually powder around those areas so that you're feeling fresh and just absorbing any excess moisture throughout the day too. I have a lot of clients that say, I love traveling, but I struggle with HS. It's something I'm embarrassed about. And I don't want to leave streaks of sweat on the chair when I'm at Disneyland or just wherever they are. Like this is
Yeah.
a quick little solve for them so that they can feel comfortable doing whatever activity it is, but they're also protecting their skin as well. And it's translucent, so it's nothing that should be noticeable.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good advice. Very good help. Um, Especially for, people that would definitely struggle with that. So
Mhm.
that's helpful. Appreciate it.
Of course.
So then I'd also like to know a little bit about your process. When a client comes in and they're curious about what their skincare regimen should be, do you do a consultation? How does that work?
Yeah, most of my clients book the new client special, and that's what I've built in. It's a customized plan that we're creating for you with your consultation that's complimentary to your first treatment, which is also discounted. So that's a great way to start. On the rare occasion, I'll have clients just book a solo consultation, either virtually or in person. And that is just the consultation that they're getting with me. I actually just brought on a new skin analysis tool, which is super exciting. Could be a little scary depending on the person. So it basically looks like a little spaceship bubble. You put your head in it and it examines your face and it gets to show you the layers of the skin that we can't see on the day to day. It's underneath. So you can see any hyperpigmentation that might not have come up. You can see any inflammation. You can also take a look at just hydration levels so that we have more to speak to on what's going on with your skin, what are your concerns, and how can we address it. Once we examine that, then I get to cleanse the skin, feel the skin, and understand how the skin tolerates certain products. And then, of course, I send them home with my custom plan, which diagnoses them, helps them figure out what skin type they are, help them understand what products are best for their skin, but also how to use them. morning, night, weekly, monthly, whatever that means. And the nice part is, if you do book a solo consultation, the money that you're using to check out for that consultation is actually going back towards products. So it's money already getting you started onto your new journey, so that we can use that towards what we think best suits your skin.
Okay, great. Um, so that goes towards it. So that's really nice. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of what I was thinking with I offer my travel personality assessment and, I go in depth with my clients about where they're wanting to travel to and kind of their style, their desires, their previous experiences, and then kind of use that to formulate a report that would give them good advice for traveling in the future. So it sounds kind of close, actually, like
Yeah,
personal consultations, which are really helpful for clients.
of course. I love it. I love personal consultations. From your
Yeah.
client base, where do most people travel?
Definitely Europe is,
Mhm.
the top destination. Italy, especially. But I actually have a lot of clients that also cruise, so that's why I was asking about cruising because it's like inside your stateroom is unless you have a balcony or a windows that open up, like you're getting the dry air that's been processed, in the same way like an airplane or something like that inside your room, but then you also have you're outside and you're on the water as well. So,
Mm,
I think there's probably some skincare concerns in that. Um, and then
yeah.
not even if you're cruising up north, you're so like Alaska or the Passage or something like that, like you're you're still needing to apply your SPF, like you're not going to be in a hot tropical location, but you're still getting a lot of sunlight.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Other places, like I guess that you get wet a lot, or let's say like for surfers, I also recommend putting some kind of occlusive that's more of like a Vaseline consistency over the sunscreen, because then it can really lock it in and create that barrier. So if it is an environment where you're like, oh gosh, I love to go outside on my cruise, but I feel like I'm constantly getting drenched, that might be something worth looking into. In case you don't have the even up SPF on you, just put your sunscreen on and then put some type of an occlusive. My personal preference is called Cell Protection Balm from Glymed, but it's like a Vaseline, except it has ingredients in there called beta glucan to help with any inflammatory conditions, but also treats the skin. So it's very reparative.
okay. And what was the word you said?
The ingredient in it
No,
is
occlusive.
glucan. Occlusive, yeah. So it basically it's going to create that barrier. There's nothing passing that. And now you know that your sunscreen is locked and loaded. You can
Oh,
put it on your face, but then also during the times where your hands get really dry and chapped, you can use it as that. You can use it as a neosporin. You can use it on babies in case they have wounds. So that's a nice thing to travel with too.
oh, okay. Yeah, I've never heard that word before. So,
Yeah, it's basically just occluding everything, like trapping it in its little bubble.
hmm
Mhm.
nice. That's great. And then I think that if you'd like to explain, I think that you were able to offer a special offer to like listeners to the show and to former clients.
Yes. I believe we did 20% off your first purchase with us if you shop on our site. Our site is itnskincare.shop, and it would be off your first order. So if there's anything that you're looking in trying, or if you need help with figuring out what's the best type of skincare for you, you could always reach out to me. Let me know that you came from Lindsay, and I'm happy to help just customize a little, maybe a travel kit for you, or put together a few of my items based on your destination. But I believe it was 20% off. I'll have to check back. Maybe you can put this in the notes somewhere with the promo code.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for that notice, or if you post it on your emails, there'll be more information there too.
Well, thank you so much for that. I think that's going to be really helpful too, because, just kind of getting that jump start, especially for travelers that are going to be heading out in the spring and summer and having being armed with that knowledge that you gave us is going to be really helpful. And then the products as well is obviously going to be really beneficial.
Yeah, even if you're new to skincare and you start trying it on your journey, you might be really interested in getting a little bit more or actually being more consistent once you get home. So it's really fun. You can make it fun even if it's not something that you already incorporate.
Hmm. Well, great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this conversation and all your knowledge and wisdom about this. I've learned a lot. I hope that my listeners have as well. And is there anything you'd like to conclude with?
No, thank you so much for having me. You just made me more excited to book a trip.
Yeah, absolutely. We're here at FairBreeze Travel anytime.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lindsay.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.